What's up, Wolverine Nation? Welcome to Week 5 of Waiver Wire. I'm Jake Camejo.
I'm Victor Torres.
I'm Matthew Barturin.
And we have a very special guest this week, Bo Humphrey. Welcome, Bo.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Of course, we'd love to have you. So, guys, Week 4, what are we thinking about Week 4?
Go ahead, man.
Well, it was kind of a weird week for me in terms of my team. I had Jared Goff and Amon-Ra. Jared Goff, if you're watching this, you failed me. But yeah, it was weird. Especially, we talk about the Dolphins. Third string rookie Skylar Thompson comes into the game after the injury to Teddy Bridgewater on the first play of the game. So we're not really sure for the Dolphins. We're not sure about their QB situation for this week. It's kind of a toss-up right now. We'll have to see what goes on the rest of the week. But, it was kind of a sad week because the Dolphins lost, but,
Yeah, I saw Skylar Thompson might be starting this week because we don't know about Tua or Teddy Bridgewater yet.
Yeah.
But as a Saints fan, oh boy, I was on my
Exciting win.
I was exciting for me.
Taysom Hill. I mean,
Mormon
come
man
on.
led us to victory. It always happens once a year, so I'm pretty happy with what we had this week. Hopefully we win against the Bengals. That's a tough matchup. Well, speaking about last week, well, due to certain circumstances, Victor wasn't here and Mercier Dion, he did well, but I think this week not the crown this week. The head. Oh. The head goes to me. So
Yes, sir.
that's me. I'm like that. I'm like that. All right. Well,
Congrats, Jake.
thank you. Well,
Good job,
Bo, we always start off the show with our pickups. So who's your pickup of the week?
My pickup of the week is James Cook. James Cook had a very good game yesterday versus a very good defense in the Pittsburgh Steelers. And he has guys on his team like Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, and Gabe Davis, which I believe can open him up for bigger plays throughout the season.
Yeah, especially with Devin Singletary. Early in the year, he was the guy who was #1 running back. But ever since he's getting more touches, James Cook's been going off, really. And he's had a few touchdowns, a few big runs. And especially with Stephon Diggs, like you said, they're going to open up the offense for him. And then he'll get a big play once again, for sure. What do you guys think about James Cook?
It's a solid pickup. I think eventually he's gonna pick up more later in the season.
Yeah, he'll only get better.
Definitely, and Miami product. So we gotta root for him.
For sure.
So my pickup of the week is Brian Robinson. Now everyone remembers him from training camp, and he overtook Antonio Gibson. So until bad news happened, he got shot in the leg twice.
Yeah.
But he came back stronger than ever, and he didn't have the best game against the Titans yesterday, but he had a good game. He had a few good carries, and I don't know about any targets. from the pass. I'm not sure, but he had a good game. I mean, hey, he just got shot in the leg, so we don't know how he's gonna be on the field, obviously. But he looked pretty well. The leg looked fine, so I think pick him up, and he's gonna be a guy that takes over the offense again because in the preseason he did it with ease.
Yeah.
He's one of those guys. The Bama product of running backs. They have a huge list of running backs who are elite, and I think Brian Robinson, especially just from his college film in general, one of those guys who's gonna pick it up. He's a super talented running back, and I hope that his recovery gets him back to that Alabama State.
Yeah, and he's also a very physical runner, and especially in those goal line touches, which you know me, I love those goal line touches.
Yeah.
I'm sure he'll get a few goal line touches, and he's a very hard, big running back, so he'll run it over anyone in the NFL. And he's also going against a very bad Bears defense this week, which is great news for anyone. So you like that pickup?
I like Brian Robinson. Like Vic said, Alabama's running backs. I mean, Derrick Henry, Alvin Kamara went there.
Mark Ingram,
T.K. Hilton. These have a long list of running backs, and all of them produce in the league mostly.
Definitely. So Vic, who'd you pick up?
My pickup is Josh Reynolds. He's kind of gone under the radar as having a very, very solid season. He's only rostered in 23% of leagues. The past 4 games, he's got 12 points, 15, 21, and 15, even with the blowout this past week against the Patriots. The past 3 weeks, he's gotten 10, 8, and 10 targets. So he looks to be Goff's kind of safe option. He's relying on him pretty much to be the safe guy. Obviously, Amon-Ra, St. Brown, and T.J. Hawkinson are the main guys in that offense in the receiving game. But I think Josh Reynolds is going to be a solid guy to have. You need a flex option on a bye week. I would definitely have Josh Reynolds because he's a solid receiver.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. He was a guy that no one really talked about going into the season, but the defense and the lines is horrendous, and they're going to be playing behind for a while now. For the rest, I think the rest of the year they've been trying to fight from behind and try to come back with the passing game.
Up until this week where they got blown out, they had the #1 offense in the NFL. I think they were averaging 35 points a game.
Exactly.
And Reynolds was kind of a huge part of it. He's just a good threat in that. He was a good threat in that offense.
With that comes points and volume in fantasy football, which is great. So Matt, who's your pickup?
My pickup is Rondale Moore from the Cardinals. So he plays a weak Seattle defense this week. He had a solid week last week. He had 8 targets, which is promising. And then he caught 7 of them, and it's versus Philly, which Philly, has a really strong defense. And this was his first week fully back from his hamstring and knee injuries, which he was out the first 3 weeks, and then week 4 he was like a little limited. But then last week he really got to showcase, his real play. So I think he's a strong pickup, and he's pretty low rostered based on his injuries. So I think that he will definitely have a good week this week against Seattle.
Yeah, he was a guy in the slot we saw coming out Purdue, and he's blazing. He's really quick, really fast.
Yeah.
So that slot was perfect for him in that Arizona offense, especially with DeAndre Hopkins coming back pretty soon and Marquise Brown also in other receiver 2 in that offense. That's a great pickup.
So they like to scheme him open. They put him on jet sweeps. They give him a lot of screens. I think like last year he averaged every catch behind the line of scrimmage.
That's
super crazy.
That's actually crazy.
So they like to give him the ball and let him just run in open space.
Yeah,
so I think that's how you create big plays.
It's gonna be easier with D-Hop coming back though.
For sure.
Definitely. Especially when you have guys like that athletic on your team, you gotta make them give the ball to them anytime in the game.
Bo kind of reminds me of Rondell more.
Yeah. He's like a better version of Rondell Moore. But so Bo, who's your start of the week?
My start of the week, Jeff Wilson. Jeff Wilson, after Elijah Mitchell went down, is like he basically did the exact same thing. But I think he's doing better right now. So if you have Jeff Wilson in your league, just start him. He's a solid RB1. You can put him at flex. He's very versatile.
Yeah, Vic's pickup a few weeks ago coming to fruition with Bo picking up Jeff Wilson. But he's a great running back. I definitely agree, Bo. He won against a bad Carolina defense this week, but it's still that 49ers offense. We don't really know what's gonna happen, so they might have to lean on the running game with Jeff Wilson Sr. here. So I think that's a great pickup.
With that defense and the way that they're playing ahead, you're gonna have to run the ball, and I think Jeff Wilson's a good option for that. Once again, he dropped me 20 points, and I've had him in my flex since I said I should pick him up for fantasy. So I'm very proud of having him.
Yeah, he's been a great option for any team so far. So.
Yeah, I mean, 15 points, 10 to 15 points per game is a good flex for RB2, even RB1. This year, running backs have been all over the place with Jonathan Taylor and things like that.
Yeah.
So my start of the week is actually, wait for it, Ramondre Stevenson, another running back. Speaking about the bad Lions defense, the blowout we talked about with the Patriots and Lions game, he had 161 rushing yards. Now, I understand it's Lions defense isn't the best, but still, 161 rushing yards
that's a big deal.
It's crazy, especially. I see Bo doing the field, and everyone thinks it's easy, but it's not easy.
161 is a lot.
It's a lot. It's a lot in one game. And also, Damian Harris is going down. He's not playing this week with an injury, so he's gonna get all those touches that he's been taken away from by Damian Harris. And also, he's the Patriots' third down running back, which means he gets all the passes from the backfield because Damian Harris isn't a good pass option back there. So Ramondre Stevenson is a big guy. If you can't see on the film right now, he looks huge right now, but he's a big guy. He's quick, he's agile, and he's a good pass catcher. And volume in passing is better for running backs than a ton of running yards, but which is important for running backs.
And with the quarterback situation also in New England, they'll have to lean on the run game more.
Bailey Zapp or Mac Jones, even with Mac Jones coming off that high ankle sprain, which no one really recovers from until a few weeks in advance. So, Bill Belichick loves running the ball. So, I mean, I think it's a good start. He got me 18 points last week in fantasy, which I loved him even though I lost this week. So Vic, who's your start?
My start is Kenneth Walker, the now starter for the Seahawks. So Rashad Penny got hurt, and now it's Kenneth Walker time. Now, granted, his stats are very misleading. 8 carries for 88 yards and a touchdown, but as you see on the video right there, a 69-yard touchdown. So his 7 other carries didn't really go for a huge amount of yards, but you have to take into account everything. You see, just on this touchdown run, you see the vision, you see the qualities that make an elite running back. He was good at breaking tackles. He was good at making realistically negative plays positive. And I've always been a huge fan of Kenneth Walker. I've been preaching it since the start of the year to draft him because he will either pick up a big role in the offense. And, it sucks that Rashad Penny got hurt. I thought he was a great running back also. But now that he's got that full role, because Rashad Penny had 8 carries for about 50, 60 yards. So you just add that to Kenneth Walker. He's got a 20-point game in your fantasy league. He had 14 this past week, but he's got 20 points for you. I think Kenneth Walker is going to have a huge role in this offense now. And they play a relatively weak Cardinals defense. Mm-hmm. So I think Seattle, especially the way that Geno Smith's been playing, they're going to be able to attack the run.
He didn't call back. They did not run back.
He did not run back.
But, this Kenneth Walker, when he played the Saints last week, he didn't really get that many targets. That's why you're saying the stats were misleading because his carries were put probably in bad situations and probably 3rd and 1s and short yardage, but he didn't get him. So I
have noticed that both the running backs haven't really been dominant in the run game or in the pass game, but I think it's part of it. And I think they do use DJ Dallas in the pass game a little bit more for So I think Kenneth Walker and DJ Dallas and Kenneth Walker now. Kenneth Walker's pretty much the only back there, so they're gonna rely on him a lot.
Yeah, and we saw him in Michigan State last year. He took that team.
I said he was the best. He was my Heisman frontrunner for a little.
Yeah, he put that Michigan State team on his back in a big old tent camping backpack, and he took him to the top 10 team.
He did really good. Yeah.
You see that now this year as they're not performing as well as from last year
At all.
at all. So Matt, talking about everyone's done theirs, but that's kind of weird. So you're the last guy, but let's go.
So my start is Raheem Mostert.
4 for 4 on running backs here.
Wow.
Yeah, look at that. So Raheem Mostert is my start from the Dolphins. He had a great week last week. 18 carries, 113 yards, and a touchdown. He's starting to pull away as the lead back for Miami, especially with Chase Edmonds. You know, he's been dropping passes, like little mistakes. That's cost the Dolphins big. So I think that Mostert's role has been increasing as, the lead back for the team. So I think that he should improve in volume and in production as well, especially with the quarterback situation in Miami. So. And he also plays the Vikings this week, allowing the 10th most points to running backs so far this season. So I think he's a strong start, in a flex or maybe even RB2 option.
I can attest to that. The Vikings just let anybody go anywhere. So.
Yeah, I mean,
Bo,
hey, don't worry. I know what you're talking about from the Saints fan. But no, he's a great option truly, and I think this week he'll do fine.
I think he's like I would feel comfortable if
yeah,
he's in
and
my lineup.
he's a veteran running back. He knows what he's doing in the NFL. He's been for a while, and he's been blazing
producing.
speed. One of the fastest players in the NFL.
As we mentioned earlier, Skylar Thompson is playing, so how much can you trust the rookie quarterback? They're gonna rely a little bit more on the run.
Quarterback's best friend is a running back.
Mike McDaniel obviously has one of the
a good running game.
Mike McDaniel obviously has one of those great running schemes historically for the Niners.
Yeah.
With Raheem Mostert actually, so I think
there you go.
he's due for another big game.
Yeah, for sure.
And also we talked about all four of us getting running backs for starts, but I mean running backs win fantasy football in everyone's league. And
yeah, that's true.
So a good running back in fantasy what takes these teams to the promised land.
There's people that go no RB status in their leagues. It's a bad move.
Victor, I said that a few weeks ago with Josh Jacobs, and Josh Jacobs had dropped back-to-back 35-point games. So let's not say that right now. But as we talked about our guys who we want to put in our starts and the blow-up guys for this week. Who's the guys we want to put in keep in your bench this week?
Okay, this is somebody who a lot of people are very high on, but I have A.J. Brown. You should sit him. He's playing against a very dominant Cowboys pass rush. They've been really good. Even though their offense hasn't been producing very much, they've been able to stop everyone and win games, even without Dak Prescott.
Yeah, I mean, Cooper Rush, he's been playing out of his mind still. And also, I saw a stat a few days ago that this Cowboys pass rush is number 6 in the NFL for pressure. And pressure for a quarterback, as Matt, you should know, it's one of the hardest things to do when you're throwing the ball.
Yeah, 100%.
And A.J. Brown, yes, he's a great receiver, 100%. I know everyone talks bad about Trayvon Diggs as he lets a big...
He's playing amazing.
This year, he's playing amazing.
Interception boy is living up to that name now.
He is.
Because he's catching picks and he's covering very well now. So. A.J. Brown's been balling out this year as well, so I think it's a clash of titans right now in the NFC East big-time matchup this week.
Mm-hmm.
But... that pass rush from the Cowboys is unstoppable.
Yeah, Micah Parsons is ridiculous.
I think Micah Parsons he's the lead runner for a Defensive Player of the Year in my opinion.
Oh, I totally agree
Ever
with
since
you.
T.J. Watt went down with an injury,
Yeah.
he's that guy.
I'm a Nick Bosa guy, but I can agree with that. I can
He's
totally
really
agree
good,
with
bro.
that.
So my set of the week is another receiver, actually, Jerry Jeudy. Now, I know a lot of people might not have him as their starting receiver 1 or 2, but flex options. Because I have Cordell Sutton in my flex option this year, and he's been all right. But Jerry Jeudy is, he's a great receiver, best route runner, one of the best route runners in the NFL. Another Alabama product that we talked about earlier in the show. But this Broncos offense has been so bad from what we thought going into the season with Russell Wilson. The Colts never did. They don't have a great defense. They let the Titans put up almost 30 points on them, and the score was 12-9 going to the overtime.
Yeah, it was a snooze fest.
I turned that off as soon as I got home.
Yeah, I went to sleep.
I don't know what's going on. We always talk about let Russ cook, but his restaurant has been closed down this year. That's all I gotta say.
It has.
So honestly, I hope the Broncos do better because, you give a guy $250 million, you don't want him to be a bust.
I've always loved Russell Wilson. He's been so good. With the Seahawks, he was awesome. But I don't know. It's weird. It's very unexpected.
He's one of my favorite quarterbacks in the league, and it just sucks seeing him not play at a level that the Russell Wilson that I always liked.
Yeah, that's true.
And especially with Javonte Williams going on. I talked about that last week with Mike Boone, as Mr. Leon has from pickup. Like, we don't really know what's going on with the Denver offense because their lead running back's out. We don't really know what's going on in their backfield. They're gonna try to lean on the passing game, and the passing game hasn't even been doing well at all. So, I don't know how I'm feeling about that.
They have a lot of talent too, which is
They're a very talented team.
Very talented team, exactly. So I don't know what's going on in the Mile High Stadium over there.
Yeah.
So hopefully they figure it out soon. So Vic, who's your sit of the week?
Broncos country. That's right. I'm sitting another receiver, Allen Robinson. So I'm kind of a week behind on this. Obviously, this was going to be my sit before I had my issue to not get on the show. But he's been irrelevant in this offense. It seems like Stafford kind of hasn't trusted him or he hasn't really flown into it because all the Rams' threats are players from their Super Bowl team, and Allen Robinson was not there, obviously. And I've just kind of noticed he doesn't really fit their scheme. The Rams have a lot of offensive threats that are like find the open hole in the zone. Allen Robinson is just kind of go up and get the ball.
Yeah,
he doesn't fit their scheme, and for being a touchdown dependent player with only one touchdown, it's really bad. Every week that he doesn't, his week with a touchdown, he had 15 points, super solid. Every other week he's had less than 5 points, so he's super unreliable. And I completely take back everything I said. I said Allen Robinson was going to be a sleeper pick, that you should totally get him. And, trust me, this is a super good start. He's not. I'm officially sitting Allen Robinson, and I'm kind of just tired of... He's a very talented receiver. He's shown that he is, but he's just not doing it in Los Angeles anymore.
Yeah, I think it has to do with targets, too. Targets are a minimum right
Obviously,
now
Cooper Kupp takes away, 18 targets.
20
he's like 20
targets
guys
a
in the
game.
game.
It's
I'm like, what the heck is
only
going
does
on?
about him.
Tyler Higbee and Ben Skowronek are outproducing a wide receiver that was, top 10 not even 5 years ago?
Yeah.
It sucks. It sucks to see. It really
weird,
does.
yeah.
I've always liked Allen Robinson, but he's just not doing it right now.
And also with the passing game of the Rams offense, they've I saw a stat too. They're tied for last for most sacks allowed. They've with the Bengals, I'm pretty sure they've been 2
Super Bowl champs struggling.
I know. It's tough.
Super Bowl slumping is real, bro.
For real though. But I mean, I don't know what's going on with this whole Rams team because what are they? What's their record now? What 2-3 maybe?
They just lost to Cooper Rush and the Cowboys.
Exactly. So this offense isn't really producing a ton, and the O-line isn't blocking well.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Allen Robinson, he's been bad. He's been bad for fantasy purposes the past 2 years. And like you said, he's more of a red zone guy you jump up and them throw the ball to, but he hasn't been showing that at all this year.
Yeah.
Hopefully he picks it up. We want to see everyone play good.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Say Allen Robinson. That's all I have.
Oh, and also, I mean, I'm also considering dropping him at this point. He's had back like a ton.
Yeah.
I mean,
there's more valuable guys out there. Fantasy-wise, there's more valuable guys out there on the waiver wire that I would take instead of Allen Robinson. For sure.
So, Matt, what's yours?
My sit is Ezekiel Elliott.
He had a wide receiver trend going on.
My bad, guys. I just had to talk about this. Only averaging 3.8 yards per carry so far. And he's splitting time with Tony Pollard, who seems to be making more of an impact with slightly less volume. Ezekiel Elliott last week had 22 carries, but only 78 yards and no touchdowns. So that only gave him, 7 or 8 points? Yeah. And Tony Pollard had that really long touchdown. Because also he doesn't give that receiving threat that Pollard does to the team. So he doesn't really I don't know, I don't see a lot of upside in Zeke right now. And he is facing a tough Philly defense this week. So, Philly's defense is outrageous right now. So combined with that and combined with Tony Pollard, splitting with him, and I don't trust him. I don't think you should ever start him.
Yeah, Tony Pollard. Tony Pollard is a great running back. Tony Pollard. Tony Pollard is a great running back.
It's sad.
Did I say it wrong?
Pollard, Pollard, or whatever you're saying is not right. It's sad
My
to see
bad.
though, because Zeke used to be.
If you're watching this, I'm sorry.
Because you see Zeke, when he was one of the best running backs in the league, was a rushing and receiving threat, and now he's lost both of those jobs. It just seems that Tony Pollard can kind of turn up a big run, because Zeke will get you a 10-yard run, but Tony Pollard will burst for 15. So it sucks.
Yeah,
but
Zeke's longest rush this past week was 12 yards.
And Pollard had 60-yard touchdown?
Yeah. Pollard is much more explosive, and I trust him. I would trust him a lot more than Zeke right now.
I mean, we also have to consider that the Cowboys put a lot of money into him, so they're gonna try obviously to give him the ball.
Yeah, but I just don't think his production is there.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm trying.
So that's why.
I mean, I think this game's gonna be great. The Philly Dallas game. So
Yeah, for sure. But I think it's gonna be
more air threat.
yeah.
Very
yeah,
defensive game.
I don't think.
that's for
Very,
sure.
yeah, I think it's gonna be low scoring.
You think
Yeah,
so,
for
bro?
sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
100%.
both defenses have been playing out of their mind this year.
Yeah.
That whole NFC East, except for the Washington
Commanders.
Commanders, they've been
Yeah.
that whole NFC East. All these teams
Yeah.
they've been playing really well, especially the Giants.
Shout out to the
Surprise.
Giants.
Shout out to the Giants. All right, guys. So going into week 6, week 5, week 6,
Week six.
Going into week 6. What are you guys' thoughts? Quick 6 seconds. 6 seconds going into week 6, Matt.
I think hopefully it's a great week. In my fantasy league, I play the best team in the league, so we'll see.
Yeah, not trying to get that punishment.
Yeah,
I'm
not.
Yeah, I don't want to be that guy this year. I'm praying. No,
Happy to be back on the show. Just looking for another good week of football, obviously.
Obviously, Bo.
I'm happy to be on the show for the first time. Hope to come a little bit more and go Vikings.
Go Vikings.
Let's go.
No, I'm joking.
Nah,
I'm joking.
Go Vikings.
No, but as me, hopefully the Saints win. They play. That's a good one, Victor. I cried that night. But they play the Bengals. I'm sure it's gonna be a great game, and hopefully we win. Who that beats who they? Nah, but honestly, I think it's gonna be a great week, and it's gonna be a great week for football, no matter what. All these primetime games we have this weekend.
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
great matchups. Wolverine Nation. That's this week for Waiver Wire. I'm Jake Camejo.
I'm Victor Torres.
I'm Matthew Barturin.
And I'm Bo Humphrey.